Hey all, welcome to Neon's Movie Reviews. I'm Neon, this is my buddy Nate. We decided for it being Mother's Day, we should talk about the perfect Mother's Day movie, Mother, directed by Darren Aronofsky. Um, so,
Perfect Mother's
perfect Mother's Day movie. It captures all the elements of Mother's Day. Um, and ironically, it kind of does too. But basically, non-spoilers. This movie is very hard to describe in a way that's even remotely enticing. Um, but basically, it's about Jennifer Lawrence, who plays Mother. She is married to Javier Bardem. He is a famous writer, and people start showing up to the house, and things go bad. Um, really, anything?
Not in a home. I was gonna say not in a home invasion kind of way,
No,
but
just
not in a home invasion kind of way either.
yeah, not it. It's
It's
kind
not
of,
strangers.
but it is. Well, it's not the movie Strangers,
Right.
but it's Strangers.
Right, strangers showing up at the house, but we're not talking about the. This isn't a slasher film style.
No.
Things go wrong with people
No.
showing up at the house.
I would definitely call, or I would not say this is a horror movie, but I would
Strongly suggest that
if you
this
don't
is
like
not a
horror,
family. This is not a family movie, and there are some very graphic and very difficult scenes to watch.
yeah, and it's not just that they are disturbing; they are difficult to get through. Not for lack of pacing, not for lack of or I don't want to say entertainment because I wouldn't say this is an entertaining film, but you are never bored
It's a
with
thoughtful
the movie.
film.
Yeah,
It is intended to be thought provoking and giving you someone's very strong opinions on some very adult subject matter.
And yeah, I think the film is shot incredibly well.
Gorgeous.
For how disturbing and uncomfortable the film is, I was never bored. I never wanted to look away because I wasn't engaged with it. I wanted to look away because of what was on screen, but I was scared to look away because I'd probably miss so much if I did. Um, this this is a Darren Aronofsky film. If for those of you unfamiliar with his works, he did the movie Pi, which is another mindfuck. He did
Black Swan.
He did Black Swan. That's probably what he's most famous for. Requiem for a Dream is my personal favorite of his.
Ass to ass.
If you've seen the movie, you know the scene that he is referring to. He did The Fountain. He did.
Not gonna suck its thumb.
Requiem for a Dream is a very adult movie. Let's put it that way.
Very adult movie. It's on like
But it's
that messed up kids level.
yeah, but it's definitely worth watching. It's a cautionary tale
About heroin addiction.
or all addiction. It focuses on heroin, but
Right.
it does enough to deal with addiction as a whole. But he
More graphic than Train Spotting.
Mhm.
Strangely.
Yeah. There's Requiem for a Dream. We will discuss some other day.
Its own
that's
entity.
yes. Most of his films we'll probably end up discussing because he's a fantastic filmmaker. But
Very into symbolism and
you watch his films and they are artistic and they are not necessarily for everybody. So
I think his movies are I would say for me they're an experience.
yes, you don't
You experience his movies. You don't really watch them.
right.
I once tried to make sense of Pi on my adulterated substances because I thought, well, if I do that, it'll definitely make more sense. It was horrible.
Yeah, no.
Scary, confusing.
He Yeah, his films are on their own plane. I would compare him to David Lynch, just more artistic, like more art house. I would say.
And for me, more tolerable.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Lynch fan.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar, or I haven't seen too many of his works, but from what I've seen, I'm not the biggest. Um, but I do have a respect for him, but I'm not the biggest fan of his works, much like John Waters, where and it's weird that I made that connection, but
Divine eating human food.
yeah. But those are other discussions for other days. But yes, Mother, I would recommend it with a caveat, a major asterisk on this one. This is not light watching. This is not something to put on when you're just in the mood for something fun.
A time killer.
Yeah, no. This is. I am in the mood for a thought-provoking film, and I want something that is going to question my morality and many other beliefs.
Depending on your upbringing.
Depending on your upbringing. You will probably have one of three reactions to this film. It will probably be mind blown, piece of garbage, horrible waste of time, or it will be kind of pompous art house crap, full of itself.
Yeah, I think the people who are gonna, I would say, there may be some that are just, what did I just watch? I'm highly confused.
Yes.
But I think more than likely then, if that's their opinion of the movie, they're probably gonna end up in that second group that you're talking about, and they're just gonna be like, this was bad. I didn't understand it, therefore I didn't enjoy it.
Right.
I think most, without getting into the spoilers, I don't think it's difficult to get into the symbolism very much at all.
Right.
Again, no spoilers, but if you've, most people I think will pick up on the symbolism, and then depending on what your personal beliefs about certain things, maybe you may be offended highly just of some of the opinions that are presented of how certain of some of these characters, how they act and react with other people, or their motivations.
Mm-hmm.
You could easily be offended by this movie,
and that might honestly be the intent of the director for some people. He
also, let's not forget, he did Noah.
He did Noah.
Where he also presented some very unpopular opinions on top of some strange cinematic choices. Like again, I love his films, but with that one, I was just kind of. There were a couple times I was just like, "Well, that's a strange dramatization that I don't necessarily think needed to be there. That's odd." But
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'll roll with it.
Yeah, no, his films, some of them are very frustrating. For me, this one was not, but I can understand why for many it was.
So a brief synopsis of the movie. So
I mean, I kind of. Can you give a brief synopsis?
Sure. So all right.
I tried.
So without, I'm going to be as spoiler free as possible. Just deck me if I start going spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So again, Javier Bardem. He is a writer. Yeah, he seems to have had some writer's block. Jennifer Lawrence is his wife. Some guests, uninvited guests. I think that's a better term than just some people start showing up and bad things happen.
Yes.
Some uninvited guests show up, but are welcomed initially. Wear out their welcome. This turns into an act happening inside of the house where something is physically broken.
Mm-hmm.
Something that was very precious to Javier Bardem. in his character. So he takes steps to try and make sure that type of thing can't happen in their house again.
Right.
Jennifer Lawrence and he seem to have a very loving relationship, but she's not nearly as welcoming to the uninvited guests as he is.
Right.
She's not nearly as okay with the uninvited guests in her home. The fact that they are fans of her husband, she doesn't mind that, which is what they tell her husband and tell them. But for her, it's just more, you're in my home.
Right.
Fast forward a little bit, she's with child.
Mm-hmm.
Things really go off the rails at that point, and
other people start showing up again.
A lot of other people start showing up again because
and
finding out about the coming child has inspired Javier Bardem to write again.
Yes.
And the world loves this piece of work that he has put forth.
Yes. And I think that's as far where I probably already gave some spoilers, but didn't dive too far. But yeah, and from there it becomes its own.
Yeah, the fan aspect
turns nightmarish.
Forget about the paparazzi. The paparazzi you would far welcome as to the outcome of his popularity.
Yes.
And basically the rest of that movie is dealing with his popularity with the people, their obsession with him, the way that creates conflict between Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem, with the birth of their child.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Right. I'm just saying there's more conflict, and then the end of the movie ties everything back to the beginning.
Everything is explained.
Right.
It's all wrapped up nicely.
Right. I think any confusion as to what I just saw may be from the earlier scenes. It's definitely not going to be the very ending of the movie. Like I hate it when I've understood, all of a movie and then they just try and be so weird at the end that they twist it in a way that you don't understand, and you're like, okay, that didn't even make sense the way you did that. You could have just left that out. But no, everything's tied back in.
Yeah.
But personally, I have enjoyed all of his movies, and I would say, for me, this would be my favorite. Again, no spoiler. Pardon me, no spoilers, but it also has to do with the subject matter. You had suggested this movie to me throughout several discussions that we had about other things. Where you're like, oh, right now I wish you had seen Mother. So I highly enjoyed the film. Personally, for me, again, entertainment value is a little hard to rate it on this one. I mean, like, if I had paid $15 to go see this in a theater, I would not have left thinking to myself, well, I just got robbed of $15.
Right.
But
if you were going in expecting a Marvel movie or something.
Right. If you're going in expecting action, you're not going in for something like that. So.
I will say this film was very mismarketed, and it's kind of fair. I would not know how to market this film.
I never saw any of the marketing. I was introduced to the movie through you.
Same. I found out about the marketing afterwards, but they marketed it as a horror film, which was the wrong way to go. They did it like a Blumhouse horror movie. So
I would not have been happy with that.
Yeah, expecting jump scares, and you get some art house thing that's arguably horror, but only by the parameters. Like, I would classify it as horror if the person I was talking to has not seen it. But if they had seen it, but much like Prestige, I would say it's a mystery. But once you've seen it, I can tell you what it really is.
It's funny if somebody, if Prestige-wise, I always try and bill it as a magic movie and let them be surprised by everything else. Like, oh, well, did you see The Illusionist? I saw The Illusionist. I mean, did you like The Illusionist? Yeah?
Okay.
I think you'll really like this one, though.
Yeah.
I think The Illusionist is a good movie, but I saw Prestige, and then I went and saw The Illusionist, and I was hoping I was getting another mind bend twister, and I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, and The Fountain came out quite previously to that.
Right around there, too.
And I kind of thought, these three things were tied together somehow, and boy, they're very good. And Fountain, another Aronofsky.
But
so how would you rate the film?
For me, probably 4.5 out of 5.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think I'd be right around the same.
Yeah.
And it's not a perfect movie. There is no perfect movie.
No.
But it's thought provoking. It's deep. It hurt at times.
Several points were very, very hard to
gut wrenching. And again,
in many ways.
I'm really trying not to give anything spoiler, but depending on certain systems of belief that you may have, it's maybe even more gut wrenching.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing movie. By far one of the best movies that I've watched in a while, as far as how it's shot.
Oh. Yeah.
Some of the tracking shots are just like, that had to have been, that can't be a single shot. Like, that has to just be super well edited, because it's the scope of the house. Because something we didn't really mention before is
let's go. We're going into full spoilers from here on out. So with the house, so he designed this movie. He like wrote it apparently over like a weekend in like a fever dream.
Okay.
Like just nonstop until this thing was done, and then from my understanding, they built the set.
They did like Oliver Stone and just like get a big huge vacuum and truck and lock himself on the hotel. Like, this is my fever dream. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Isn't that the story of how Oliver Stone wrote Scarface?
Pretty much, yeah.
He went in Amsterdam with his massive bag of cocaine and went and locked himself in a hotel room and didn't come out for
it showed.
months.
It showed. It worked though. But yeah, for this one, he did that, and then from my understanding, they built the house. It was an actual set, and then he spent like a week going through the set, figuring out the camera movements of the entire film from beginning to end, and how all that was going to be done, and then he brought everybody in and just ran through it. I think it was like if I remember right, it was like a 10-day shoot. I couldn't be very off. Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, but if I remember right, it was like a 10-day shoot. And because he had like ran through it so many times beforehand, and it was, his wife is the lead actress, and everybody else is pretty much extras that are just like, okay, be a mob.
I kind of wonder if are we in spoiler
territory?
Full spoilers. Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if when she read the script for this, she had the reaction that her character had reading the poem, and just like weeping, just like, how are we gonna shoot this? No, I promise it can happen. Okay, it's a beautiful script. I love it. Please cast me. I want an Oscar again.
Yeah. I know that this was pure Oscar bait. I don't even think I got nominated for anything. It's too experimental.
Okay, so all right, so since we're in spoiler territory, let's go back to the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
So you get Ed Harris. All right.
So the
Jennifer Lawrence wakes up.
Yeah.
Screaming, not screaming, looking for her husband.
Well, before that, you have the house is like burned, it's like charred, and it goes through the house, and it comes up onto the bed as it's like reforming back into its natural like.
Don't forget about the flaming lady.
Oh yeah, well, and there's a flaming, screaming lady as well. And so everything goes back to normal.
We get a tracking shot from outside the house,
Mhm.
kind of reforming itself.
Yeah, this is really, really impressive shot. A lot of it's CGI, but it's still really, really well done. But so yeah, Jennifer Lawrence is formed. She wakes up. Javier Bardem is not in the bed, and she, calls out for him, starts looking for him.
Yeah, because as the bedroom is becoming one, you can kind of see the body rise up underneath the covers.
Yeah, that was really cool. Like it for me, it hooked me like instantly. I was just immediately, I was like, okay, I'm on board.
I had the sense that I was watching something in reverse.
Mhm.
Like, okay, eventually I'm going to come back to this beginning and find out how this happened.
And you do, but not exactly. Like,
well, I mean, we're in the spoiler section, but yeah. Yes, you come back to a beginning.
Right. You understand one of the many different ways this could have all gone down.
Right.
But yeah, you're kind of in just this infinite loop as, I guess, God or whatever Javier Bardem is in this reality.
Yeah, because we have Jennifer Lawrence looking for him in the house. She can't. Eventually, she finds him. That's when we learn about this whole writer's block thing.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been able to write. This house that they live in, which has a small clearing around it, but then it's just woods as far as you can see.
Right.
It appears that this house is literally in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and the clearing is like beautiful green grass everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's pristine, gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. And then we get Ed Harris shows randomly knocks on the door.
Right.
Sorry, I thought this was a bed and breakfast. I was told that. We eventually find out that he's a fan of Javier Bardem's. And Javier is very, very, very welcoming. Very, oh, well, now that I know you're a fan, what's mine is yours. Stay here, and they're drinking, and they're.
Jennifer Lawrence is thrown off, and she's like, okay, well, all right, if it's just for the night, all right, whatever.
Right, and she doesn't like that Ed Harris keeps smoking in the house.
Right.
So you can tell that you get this sensation very on. She's painting in the house. She's redoing things, rebuilding this home. For her that's her purpose. Mm-hmm. You can tell that she feels my job here is I'm your wife, you're my husband. We're here to love each other. I'm here to support you, but I'm rebuilding this house. She's very protective of the physical home itself.
Yes.
Every time he lights up a cigarette, she's just all on him.
Mm-hmm.
She sends him outside a couple times, and then she wakes up in the middle of the night. She can smell the cigarettes, and she can hear him throwing up.
Right, and she peeks in there, and you see.
If you ever, he's not obviously not holding Ed Harris's hair back.
Right.
He didn't have any, but it's that same kind of scenario where
Yeah.
he's buddying him up as he's puking in the toilet.
But did you notice? Yes. So
he has a slash on his side.
Well, his shirt's a little poked up, and Javier Bardem pulls it down. But he's got a wound on his side where his ribs would be. And
if you go back and rewatch it, you can tell one's missing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So obviously, if you haven't caught on to the Christian biblical references here, we have an Adam figure here, and being very figurative about it, or very literal about it.
Mm-hmm. The very next morning, his wife, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, shows up.
Out of the blue.
Out of the blue. There's no mention of him ever having a wife before. Javier Bardem and Jennifer Lawrence are both a little surprised about it. She's very questioning about it, and Javier Bardem's just like, oh, who knew? The more the merrier, pretty much.
Right.
And
she's not so much of a fan, and she's very confrontational towards Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes.
She's getting drunk. She's making a mess of the kitchen. She's saying very rude things to Jennifer. There were a couple of those scenes that I was just like,
mm-hmm.
I am a man, and I think if you said those things to me, the ability for me to not try and slap the taste out of your mouth may completely leave me. And Jennifer Lawrence just took it.
Yeah, she's just dumbfounded by it.
Right. And they find something that we had seen at the beginning of the film. They find in this room there's this. I thought it was glass, but
It's some glass stone.
yeah, some glassy looking stone sitting on a stand, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Right.
And Javier Bardem that's like the one thing in the house that he's like, don't.
Mm-hmm. He's even like, don't go in the study.
Right. It's to me that was the illusion of the tree.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know, like you can go anywhere in the house, but this room.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay,
especially do not
right. Here is our Garden of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew at some point something was going to happen to that.
And of course, it's Michelle Pfeiffer. She lures Ed Harris in there. She was shown a couple points in the film being, sneaking in there or looking at it. And then later in the film, you see her and Ed Harris in there, and it gets broken. And Hagar Redem kicks them out of the house. He banishes them from there.
Well, he banishes them from the room and boards the room up.
That's right.
She wants them gone, and they won't leave.
That's right. That's what it is. And then it's like the next night.
The sons show up.
Yeah, their two sons show up. One was played by Domhnall Gleeson, General Hux, and then the other guy, I feel like is his actual brother, if I remember right, but he hasn't done too much else.
I thought it was one of the Weasleys. I was like, is that one of the Weasleys? I mean, I know it's not Ron, but is it the older one that was like supposedly studying the dragons in the other place? Like the one who's only in the last movie.
No. Ironically, like so many people thought he should have been one of them, but yeah, he was never in those.
It would have been funny to get the two brothers from there.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think his dad was though. His dad is Brendan Gleeson, and I think he was the guy who had like the one eye who was like, yeah.
Mad Eye Moody.
Yep. Yeah. So his dad was in there, but not him.
That's funny. I didn't know that was.
Yeah.
For some reason, never mind. I'll say it. For some reason, I was stupid. And I was like, maybe he's related to Jackie Gleason. Yeah, it's gotta be a Gleason. Yeah.
Yes, they're all Gleasons are related.
All Gleasons are related. Every single one of them. But so the thing breaks. He kicks him out. He boards it up. She wants them gone. They won't leave. The brothers show up and they're fighting about the will. Ed Harris is dying and they're fighting about the will. They get into a physical altercation. Smack in the back of the head.
Yep. Gleason kills the other brother. And then
they take him to the hospital. You don't know he's dead yet. They come back from the hospital. He's obviously dead. He's pronounced dead. They have a wake.
Yes.
In the home.
It's
or
really
like almost instantly.
The passage of time in this movie.
Temporally.
I have no idea.
Strange.
Yeah, you have no concept of time in this film, and it's intentional. It's very disorienting.
I honestly, when I was viewing the movie for the first time, I was about 35 minutes in, and I was like, man, how long is this movie? And I hit the controller to see how much time was. I'm only 35 minutes in, because so much happens so quickly that. And it is not poorly timed.
No. You related it to Rise of Skywalker.
Right. Like, I think they're...
the opposite end.
Right, on the opposite end. Like, Rise of Skywalker was just like, hey, look at this thing, hey, look at this thing, hey, look at this thing, hey, look at this thing. But it was all horrible distractions from the awful script.
That's all it was. It was just like, and before you can question the logic behind that, here's 3 more new things.
Right. Hey, fanboys, wanted to see this? Hey, fangirls, wanted to see this?
Yeah, this was just more...
Unless you're a fan of Rose.
Right. This was more just, hey, we're trying to overload you intentionally because the character...
Escalation.
Because the character, Jennifer Lawrence's character, is overloaded by all this.
Yes.
We're experiencing this the same way she is.
This movie is the very definition of, well, that escalated quickly.
Yes.
There has never been a movie that more
Ron Burgundy meme is
characterized. Well, that escalated quickly. So they have a wake. He says these nice things about him, and of which he lives on through us. Is part of that. So we fast forward on. You get more symbolism. She wants everybody out of the house. More and more people are showing up in the house.
Right.
More and more people being more and more believers.
Yeah, they keep sitting on the counter.
I have taken her to be a Lilith character,
Okay.
even though historically Lilith was supposedly Adam's first wife,
Right.
not God's wife. But I kind of took her to be the Lilith character, like, no, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. Like, don't mess around with my stuff. Like, I love this man. You don't get to love him.
See, I took her as more of a Mother Nature. Like, the house was representative of the earth. That's what
They kept destroying.
Yeah, and
just by multiplying.
Yeah, and just their
I didn't go eco-friendly on it, but I mean, like,
that's kind of how I took it, and it's just this constant cycle of just like life, mankind versus the planet, and they're just.
I just always took it as there's a lot. Even within Christianity, there are a lot of different beliefs out there, and a lot of beliefs that used to be popular, the Gnostics and things like that, which aren't as popular anymore, and those writings are literally looked as heretical by some of the different churches. Like, well, that's not the real faith.
Mm-hmm.
We can't possibly believe those things. Some of those stories involve, Jesus not necessarily being a nice person as a child, and and
right.
there's
Many different beliefs.
Right.
Yeah.
And with some of those other stories, like the Essenes, believed that God did have a wife. The father has a wife, and which is why I really kind of dug the movie being called Mother. Is the father has a wife, the son, as far as the Essenes believe, and again, like he said before, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but this is something I've done a little bit of writing on, not extensive writing, reading. But the Essenes believe that, what the Jews called Jehovah he was the son, he was the father's son, he was a completely separate deity.
Okay.
And because he created this existence without knowledge or permission from the father, and he was apparently a little more cruel of a god, like you look at the Old Testament, he's, God is vengeful, he's wrathful.
Right.
I'm not going to use the word evil, but vengeful and wrath being huge, like, and that changes in the New Testament. You have a completely different view of you get this hippie, peace-loving, God that everything is love, and the Essenes explanation for that was that once the father found out what the son had done, it was, well, you have to give these people away to me.
Okay.
Like, I'm going to create a loophole so that they can have what you've denied them cruelly.
Okay.
I'm sending you to Earth.
Hmm.
You are going to atone for their problems,
Okay.
and that creates a way to me. Backed up by some of the only way to the Father is through me. right. And so
okay.
That was more of their belief. Okay, so there's a lot of different belief systems out there. I'm not saying that I ascribe to.
Right.
I'm not going to get into what I ascribe to
right.
in a YouTube video, but there's a lot of different belief systems out there. So I always took her to be the, she is the father's, companion.
Okay.
And sure, there's this struggle between, well, who do you love, more?
Right.
Now, it's not that story,
no.
But it's a story of, well, what if God had a companion? What if there is a father, and that father has a companion, how could that play out to that entity? if, as I mean, we're obviously in the spoiler parts here.
Well,
I think Aronofsky gives his opinion that God is egotistical. God is an attention-loving. He just wants your adoration.
Right.
And,
by any means.
Right. By any means, and he's willing to sacrifice everything else around him as long as he has that adoration.
Right.
That is, I cannot take this movie any other way than that is his, or that might not be his opinion personally, but that is the opinion he is trying to get across in this film. God is not something
right.
loving and kind. He's pretty indifferent to everything that goes on around him as long as he's getting the attention that he demands.
Well, when you look at the
or wants,
yeah,
it demands.
So when you look at Noah as well, it feels like this is more of his thoughts. Like, okay, he had some things to say with the film Noah, and now he's just like that like.
I don't think Noah's nearly as thought provoking.
Oh no, I don't either. I think that was
it just really plays with the narrative. He's just like, oh well, how do we remake the story of Noah's Ark, but make it 2 hours long? Like,
what I see happen is, okay, I want to do something kind of crazy, like, but I need a studio project to fund it, basically. And well, hey, we're trying to get this biblical epic remake, made for Noah. I can do something with that. And while he was working on that,
not the person I would go to be like, oh, get something with that.
But while he was working on that, I almost feel like no, not anymore. Although, now he's making Passion 2, so.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they're making Passion 2.
How the fuck is there a sequel to Passion of the fucking Christ?
It's about his return. Like, not Armageddon, like after he was buried.
When he presents himself to the disciples.
Yeah, not buried, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he made a 2-hour movie about the last 24 hours of his life, but it just doesn't need to be that's just. And you certainly don't call it Passion of the Christ 2.
No, I think if I'm not mistaken, there is a shot on that I saw on Twitter of Jim Caviezel on the cross.
Caviezel's back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like he's got a lot. If you play Jesus, your career, with the exception of Willem Dafoe, who his career took a while to come back, there aren't a lot of people whose careers come back from playing Jesus.
No. Unless your career is already established and you do it
Jesus
as
Christ Superstar, that's a whole different.
Yeah, or a bit role or something like that in a comedy is one thing, but like an actual film portrayal of Jesus, it's hard to come back. Any biblical figure, it's kind of hard.
Charlton Heston did alright after playing Moses.
Fair enough. Yeah, okay, I think it's just mostly Jesus. Then.
Mel Gibson did the best after coming back for playing Moses. He played a lot of characters. These are the 10 Commandments. Absolutely love that film. But you definitely feel the weight of everything in this movie. It goes through all the symbolism. You get the birth of the Son.
Yes.
And the adoration. The sacrament. We're going to, taste of my flesh, blood of my blood. It becomes very literal in this movie.
Very disturbing scene. One part that I found very interesting was the just the incredible escalation, because it starts off and you're just like, oh, okay, this is very
Too many
fast
people
paced.
showing up. Too many people showing up.
People start showing up, and then
people start breaking shit.
Yeah, and then everybody gets kicked out, and then they start showing back up after the child is born, and Ego Redem is just letting them come back in again, even after all the shit happened before.
Presents the child to them all Lion King style.
Yep, and but even before that, before the child's born, you have just they keep showing up in droves.
Oh, while she's pregnant.
Yeah, while she's pregnant, it's getting insane. Kristen Wiig is his publicist. And like a couple minutes
executing people.
Yeah, a couple minutes after that, like there's a rave breaking out in one of the rooms, and there's thousands of people in this place, and more just filing in.
And does it seem out of place?
No, it just somehow just makes sense in the narrative, and it's like there's
because again, you just keep tracking through this house, which
like
is a big
5
house.
minutes. 5 minutes before she's setting the dinner table for him, and then like 5 minutes later, there's a rave in where she had the dinner.
and all of that's the reaction to his writing, feeling inspired by the baby. You know, the world's so inspired by his writing that they want to show up and give their appreciation, but they're literally showing up by the thousands, and she just wants people out of the house.
Yeah.
There's a little tear gas being shot. There's
the military shows up. Kristen Wiig has people in black bags over their face, and she's just walking down an aisle of them, and just like two guns in each, one in each hand, just shooting them in the head as she walks.
Is it strange that was one of the first times I ever thought Kristen Wiig looked hot?
That's a little off.
And The Martian, for some reason. In The Martian, I was like, what? She's kind of hot.
But yeah, no, like the sense of escalation. The military shows up, and even then, like when the military shows up, you're just kind of like, oh, okay, like that makes sense.
Well, I wasn't necessarily like, oh, okay. I was looking like, what the fuck is going on in this house?
Yeah. Does like, a mortar land inside, or a grenade or something?
Honestly, at that point, if the Independence Day's flying saucers had like gone over their house, I wouldn't have even been surprised. Like,
yeah,
that's the natural progression. And now we're gonna see the Borg ship show up above that one. And
to give you an idea, the year of 2020 so far, this film's third act is a perfect representation of the escalation that we've experienced this year.
There's murder hornets, you know.
Yeah. And if you're watching this in the future, now you know where we are in the timeline. Murder hornets were just announced the other day.
They've been a thing in Japan forever, but apparently they're now here in the States.
Yeah, go figure. But yeah, so this film it just so yeah, the baby's. The baby is brought down and sacrificed to the crowd. It's given to the crowd. The crowd breaks its neck, and then they chop it up and start eating of its flesh.
Yes. Nice chopping. It was
broken. Yeah.
Because you don't really see it. You get over there and there's like a carcass. Like, oh.
Yeah, but there's pieces there too.
Yeah.
So it was fucked up. They only show it for a second. The act is not shown. Neither is the neck break. You just hear it. You know what happens. You know it's going to happen. And then there's the reveal of the dead carcass after they've been eating it. She obviously freaks out. Yeah, now. She freaks out. She grabs like a glass or something, breaks it, starts stabbing people. She
cuts a bitch.
Oh yeah. They beat her down to the ground, start stomping her.
That was a very difficult part to watch, and
calling her.
I wasn't sure if they were going to rape her.
Yeah,
I almost thought I was going there because they were tearing at her clothing. She was getting stomped in the face.
It was so uncomfortable. Another really, really well done use of CGI with the bruising and everything. I was very just like...
Well, CGI, I mean, he's a hardcore director. I thought maybe he had just told him to... He went full Tarantino, like, okay, she thinks you're going to hold back. Just stomp the shit out of her. We're getting a fucking Oscar on this one. You know?
Yeah, I don't think that would have fared too well. Press releases. Well, shit. What happened to you? Did you get in a car accident? No, this was for the movie. Oh, is that some spoilers then?
My husband hired 4 WWE wrestlers to stomp my face for an Oscar, and he didn't even get nominated.
But yeah, no, it's very. very disturbing. That
She goes to the basement.
She goes to the basement.
There's a boiler. We've seen the furnace, or a furnace. We've seen the furnace a couple times in the movie.
Yeah, it's been kind of.
Ed Harris dropped a lighter that somehow ended up falling down.
Yeah,
into that area.
She finds the lighter. She lets out some oils. Threatens everybody. Yeah, she threatens everybody with to blow the place up. Javier Bardem is like begging her not to. Like, for everybody, not to do this, just for everybody there not to do this.
Right.
And she just asks him again, like, just tell them to leave, and
he refuses.
Yeah, so she drops the flame, place goes up in flames. You see her burning body, which is fucking shocking. And then, what, Javier Bardem...
And then we get close-ups of, you know, like, hairless or nearly hairless, burned, cracked skin Jennifer Lawrence being carried by Javier Bardem.
Yeah. And
he carries her into the kitchen, right? Doesn't he lay her down on
yeah.
like he lays her down on the kitchen counter?
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. By the way, okay, I have a thing for kitchens. Chef for 20 years. Their kitchen in this movie, I was just like, oh my god, it's so beautiful. It didn't have a bunch of modern conveniences that maybe I would like in a kitchen, but this is a beautiful farmhouse and this beautiful kitchen.
Right.
And sorry, just a little kitchen porn there for me. But yeah, so he lays her down on this beautiful, you know, now burnt up countertop. There's still flames all around them, and they have a little.
Yeah, they have a little back and forth. She basically tells him to take what you want.
And he's like,
you always do anyway, basically.
Your love.
Yeah,
and so he reaches it. We are now in the Temple of Doom area. The hand reaches up into the torso, rips her heart out, and then we get the shot of it going onto the stand.
Well, before that, he puts it, he crushes it into his
crushes
hand.
her heart.
Yeah, and then it's that glass.
That's right.
Piece again, and he puts it back on there. And the moment he puts it back on the stand,
we get the shot of the house going back.
The house and the field around it, everything starts reverting back to its beautiful, pristine paradise condition.
And then when we get up to the bedroom,
a
body comes up, but you can see it's a different actress.
And did not recognize her, but yeah, it's a new actress, and she, you know, a repeat of the
kind of the wake up. And she takes that breath.
Very Groundhog Day like situation going on.
You feel
here.
horrible for her. Like she's obviously bound to repeat this.
Oh yeah.
You don't love me. Oh, because that's one of the things that she says to him. You don't love me. You just loved how much I love you.
Right.
And again, if you didn't really need the symbolism earlier, he spells it right out for you at the end. What his opinion of God is.
Well,
he doesn't love you. He just loves how much you love him.
Right.
You know,
well, to be fair,
his opinion.
I talked with when I talked to Mark about this movie because he's one of the only other people I know that's seen it. Besides you, Mark's seen it, and my mom
is a coworker.
Yeah, and my mom. I got my mom to see this. My mom wanted to hit me for having her watch it. That was her reaction. And Mark, he, I guess, did not have a religious, or much of a religious upbringing, so when he watched it, he was just watching it as the literal events taking place. What the fuck is this movie? Like, he didn't pick up on Adam and Eve, he didn't pick up on Cain and Abel. There were so many things that I was just like, really? Like, that for me, that was super evident, and and so it's not evident
it's very
to everybody.
Thinly veiled symbolism.
Yeah, but if you have a religious upbringing, you're going to pick up on these things more than likely. If you don't, you probably just not for you this movie if you have no interest in religion. It's just.
I mean, I think you can enjoy the movie for the shots.
For the technical aspects, you can enjoy this film, but.
It is definitely one person's dissertation on this is what I believe about your beliefs.
Yeah. I would I'm very glad that I own this movie, but I would not recommend anyone to buy this movie without seeing it.
Red box it or
yeah, this is a definite rental. Or find on Netflix. See if this is for you. This is probably not a movie you're gonna rewatch unless you're really big into film.
I was just about to say. I mean, it's almost to the point where if it's gonna cost you $15 to buy it, and if you can rent it for $3, even if you love the movie, you probably don't need to buy it because, as Dion said, unless you're going to be rewatching it for technical aspects, wanting to pick up on beautiful cinematography, beautiful shots, but it's not something you're just going to kick on a Saturday. Be like, you know what? I think I'm going to watch Mother this afternoon.
Yeah.
You may introduce other people to it, and if you end up rewatching it that way, you know, that's one thing. But honestly, I think I could own this movie, and as much as I love it, I might watch it 3 or 4 more times in my entire life.
Yeah, for me, it's when I love the shot construction. I love I love just how everything flows so well. The other thing that I found very refreshing, especially today, is that opening shot. Not only like sets like the setup for the ending with the charred house and everything, but you also go through the entire house, so it shows you the entire like geography
you get a scope of how large the home is.
Right.
Its general layout.
So when you and that's reinforced throughout the rest of the film until that third act, when that house just gets so massive, and you're just like, there's no way this is possible. Like people are tearing through the house still, but it's just like, there's no way this is possible. There's this many people.
There are
here.
walls torn out. You can see to the outside, but there's still things happening in the interior of the building, and you're just like,
it's just unfathomable. And that to me was one of the most impressive things, that like it set the sense of geography so that it could distort it later on, which is very rare. That you like, it's very rare to find films these days that pay attention to geography, let alone using it as a misdirection. But I don't really have anything else to say on this, do you?
No, I mean, again, it's a heavy movie. It's a great movie. It's not a light watch.
No, this is not a movie I would recommend. I honestly wouldn't even recommend watching this movie in a group or with like a girlfriend or like.
This is not a date night movie, that's for sure.
No, this
is not Netflix and chill. You will not get any.
Yeah. This is something to kind of just like put on when you're alone, or with somebody that you're very comfortable with, that you are very open with your discussions about.
Do not suggest this to your Sunday school class.
No. But yeah, this is a very hard watch, but I think it's very worth it. Yeah, again, I'm gonna stick with my grade before 4.5 out of 5. Like this. The only reason I wouldn't give this a 5 out of 5 is just I don't think I'm going to rewatch this movie that often.
Yeah, it definitely shoots itself in the foot for rewatchability just because of how heavy it is.
But to be fair, one of my favorite movies that I've rewatched probably like 20 or 30 times is Requiem for a Dream, which is equally not an easy watch, but I think the overall editing and the pacing of that film and the music and everything just makes it a more fun experience, and you have that lighter first half before everything turns to shit. That one I can still enjoy more. This one is just like, oh, this is heavy the entire time. But yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap it up. If kind of rambled for a little bit longer than we anticipated, but yeah, it's just if you've seen it, you understand. But yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, let me know in the comments what you thought of it. If you like this video, please give me a like, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. But yeah, definitely stay tuned for more content. I've got a lot of reviews lined up, so definitely stay tuned. See y'all.